What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today to unpack Miss Marvel's Hard Light event that's upcoming actually in a couple of days here. So best to prepare now. Take a look at your roster and see what synergies and teams are going to work. But we're going to be going through that today, and as well taking a look at how these new orbs that are coming to the game, these energized orbs, are going to be attained, as well as how we can best maximize them. So kind of similar to what we're doing right now, guys, with the events that's been happening, adding to the month-long event. With Miss Marvel's Hard Light event, there is going to be a new campaign mode that's going to come about. So let me just show you on screen here to demonstrate. For example, it's going to be very similar to how we've seen typically these campaign chapters. And when you're farming them, let's just grab this one, 2-8 here, for example. You can see right now, if we're farming these, we're getting these Dark Alley Orb fragments. Well, it's going to be very, very similar. Instead of giving us Dark Alley Orbs, this new campaign mode is going to be specifically featuring these energized orb fragments. So obviously farming at least 2,000 is going to give you the opportunity to open an orb, and that's going to be actually how we can earn shards of Miss Marvel. On top of that, obviously there's going to be other characters available. Now keep in mind though, the caveat is that similar to how we have some of these campaign chapters structured, for example, you can only use heroes or villains respectively. For this campaign mode that's coming for her event, you can only use energized character traits. So who is that? Well, if you go to the roster and filter by the energized characters, this is all the ones that are available. So we're going to be talking about that as well in terms of the best synergies. But in case you guys aren't sure where to find this as well, if you can head over to the supply store, these energized orbs are actually already in game. So the event's just not live yet, but we can already see you can start opening these up actually for 500 cores a piece. And whether or not they're worth it in your eyes, hold that thought for sure. If you guys always want to take a sneak peek of what these orbs even offer, hit the eye for additional details, and you can see you get essentially a breakdown of what orbs going to contain, right? So you can see there's a left side, there's a center side, and a right side. So bare minimum, you're getting at least 2 shards of her every time you open, because you can see it's 1 to 2 for both the left and right. What is going to be a question mark is going to be the centerpiece. So if you hit that one here, it is going to have a different ratios in terms of the chance, the common drops. Thankfully though, Miss Marvel Hard Light is always in every, there's a chance to get her in each and every one of the pillars. So that's great to see. However, as you can see here, other than that, there's actually not too many characters that aren't already farmable in the game. So she truly is the gem in these orbs. And then after that, obviously having more shards of Vision is great, but keep in mind you can already farm her. You can farm Shang-Chi, Vision, Phyla-Vell, Nemesis, all farmable in the game. I would say Moonstone's probably the one I want to go for, but again, their usage in the game as well, outside Cosmic Crucible, is also sparingly used. So just keep that in mind. Dazzler's a good one, but again, farmable in the game, but part of the Horseman team, so obviously there's always going to be value there. Everyone's obviously going to be going for Miss Marvel Hard Light, as she is pretty much going to be the only way to be obtained through these shards. Having said that, guys, now let's deep dive and talk about some of the synergies and combinations. Now that we've got a chance to take a look at those orbs, how you can best maximize this then is really structuring your team a couple of things, right? We know we need damage, we know we need some supportive capabilities, as well as maybe some ability controlling. And what we've seen historically from teams is that if you generally have a 250, 300k team, they should be do a decent job to get through the hard difficulty, which is going through all the traits that require 5 energized characters. If you're newer to the game, you might need them built up to at least 100, 150k, so that's like 30k per character. Hopefully that gets you through it, and obviously getting more fragments and getting more shards ultimately of Miss Marvel. So I think first and foremost, some obvious locks in my honest opinion is going to be a couple synergies I see. I think Nemesis, without a doubt, I'm already bringing him into Dark Dimension 6, but it just makes sense because of his synergies. He's got really powerful special and ultimate abilities, and with them resetting with each node attempt, he's just going to be ready to go with some really devastating abilities here. And we also need to build them up to not just for the Horseman team Dev Seed, but as well unlocking Apocalypse. So it just honestly makes the most sense. Dazzler's another good one too. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot of the unlimited X-Men synergies here, but I mean, a lot of folks will probably have her built up because of unlimited. And she does have blind, and she does have an ability block, so it is nice to have at least some controlling aspect in terms of managing those waves. I think Dazzler and Nemesis are pretty obvious locks. Now we just have to surround this crew with some synergies that we see. Shang-Chi, I think, is hands down, if you haven't built up, he's just an instant lock. I'm planning to personally bring him up to Dark Dimension 6 as well, so it really makes sense. He's gonna have a lot of value. He's already a really good character and skill. He has value in the raids as well. It's being part of Hills for Hire on War. I mean, they're dated, but as well, they still have value if you have them all built up. So naturally, he's just gonna be really nice if you already have materials and gear invested on him. So Nemesis, Shang-Chi, Dazzler, I think are pretty much locks for myself. I think Moonstone's another good one because with Masters of Evil, they are one of the required teams to unlock Nova, so folks will probably have Moonstone built up. She's a powerful character as well. She loses value outside of Cosmic Crucible, but I mean her special and ultimate are still pretty powerful with ability. For defense down, some debuffs. Really good. She's all around. She's a great character. I think after that, then you can get a little creative in terms of the synergy. Viv Vision, although she loses value not having Bionic Avengers on this team, I mean, she's got a really powerful ultimate ability, flipping negatives, and as well as being able to blind the row of enemies. I mean, great for defensive capabilities, but as well making sure your team is protected. And she also has a pretty good ability block for 2 turns. So I mean, even though she doesn't have Bionic Avengers next to her, she's probably one of the better plug and play characters of her respective team. I can also see folks using the synergy of Falavel and Moondragon. So that's one of the combinations we do see with them being utilized in Infinity Watch. Both of them being categorized as Energized. They can provide some healing, especially Phyla. She can cleanse. She's actually a really strong offensive character. She's got a cleanse and barrier, and her ultimate with offense down is actually pretty awesome. So I mean, I brought her up for Dark Dimension 5 previously, but I mean, that's why she's built up the way she is. I think great characters overall. Some folks even bringing her up actually in Dark Dimension 6. So those are really, really good. If you want to combine Viv Vision with Vision, I think that could be a good combo as well. So that's what I mean. But definitely Viv Vision is the better counterpart. If you have these two, at least there'll be some synergies there. And then other than that, I think everything else at that point is just, yeah, like I wouldn't recommend Invisible Women, Ironheart, Rescue, Electro, so forth. Yellow Jacket reworked with Infestation could have some value, but again, he thrives more with having the Infestation team with him, or at least some of the Pintep folks, right? So he gave you some necessary damage, but I don't think he triumphs, any of the other characters I've already mentioned. Which yeah, like I said, they all, I think, take priority. Another one could be Miss America Chavez, if folks are trying to bring her up in terms of her actually being a brawler. So obviously she can have synergies later on for unlocking Black Cat for the brawler trait notes, and want to synergize her with Miss Marvel, the original. But other than that, guys, I think these are the best ones. So personally, I think I'm going to do a Nemesis Dazzler with Shang-Chi, and probably combine either Viv Vision with Vision, or even try Moondragon and Falavel, because I think having at least some synergies will give us some value there, and especially with them getting benefits off of each other. But yeah, that's it, guys. Remember, you can also do the same thing with these campaign events where you can refresh the energy, kind of like what we can do with the yellow campaign. You can refresh it, so I'm planning to do that, so that way I can farm more fragments. It's another way just to squeeze in some more shards, and obviously we can push as many shards as we can with Miss Marvel Hard Light. These are usually some of the best free-to-play events for sure. So yeah, do let me know what you guys are planning to bring in. I'm curious. Thank you as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.